touching on that last topic, that the affirmative claims we don't need as many nukes, but under the New START program, we have just as many as Russia, which, as Jason just stated, aren't even abiding by the policies placed by the New START 2. In a statistical analysis by Matt Kroenig, assistant professor in international relations field chair in the Department of Government at Georgetown University, of all nuclear-armed countries from 1945 to 2001, he found that the state with more warheads was 1/3 as likely to be challenged militarily by other countries and more than 10 times more likely to prevail in a crisis, that is, to achieve its basic political goals when it was challenged. Moreover, he found that the size of this advantage increased along with the margin of superiority. States with vastly more nukes, 95% of the two countries' total warheads were more than 17 times more likely to win. That's pretty much just saying that yeah, we don't necessarily need 1,500 nukes to win a war, but we do need them to show people that we will win a war under any circumstances. And then that also goes along with keeping the funding going, because if the funding stops, then our technology becomes more primitive, leaves room for us to not be such a dominant superpower. Back to that study, when the United States operated from a position of nuclear strength during the Cold War, it stopped the Soviet Union from building a nuclear submarine base in Cuba in 1970 and deterred Moscow from increasing support to its Arab allies in 1967 and 1973. By contrast, when the nuclear balance was less favorable to Washington, it was unable to achieve clear victories in crisis against the Soviet Union, for example, failing to roll back Moscow's 1979 invasion of Afghanistan. So as the U.S. is a big world power, we need to be able to show that to other people, and regardless of using these nukes or not, like Jason said, it's a political weapon, that we can see that countries just back down and we can get them to do what we want more often than not when we have a higher power or more nukes. And they keep talking about reallocating the money, and it's important to understand that that warhead reductions will not result in saving necessarily. As an employee, or according to that Kroenig article, as an employee of the U.S. National Nuclear Laboratories can tell you, the cost of nuclear weapons is in the infrastructure. The warheads, in comparison, are virtually free. If the United States are going to retain even a handful of nuclear weapons, it will need national laboratories with scientists and technicians, delivery vehicles, military units trained to handle nuclear weapons, and many other capabilities. These are large fixed costs regardless of the number of warheads in the arsenal. So if we want to keep if we decrease funding, we're going to lose the nukes we do have, because we're not going to be properly taking care of them, and then our power as a superpower will diminish, and will overall, relating to the other argument, will have less power and less political power against other countries. So in summary, we need a strong budget to compete with other nations, which is why the budget for nuclear research is not being decreased currently and should not be decreased. Decreasing funding to nuclear research does not result in America saving money, so the proposed plan will not succeed in allocating funds to different branches of defense spending. And finally, the research in nuclear weapons is necessary to keep our nuclear stockpile effective. Thus, decreasing funding to research will ultimately result in the threat of a nuclear terrorist attack. Disadvantages of the plan include America's loss as the main nuclear superpower, meaning less national security and the cost of replacing nuclear with traditional military forces.